On this episode of Internet Business Mastery, we talk about how to become an expert overnight. And in the quick tip, we share a great tool for finding out which keywords will bring you more traffic.
Welcome to InternetBusinessMastery.com, where you will learn to take control, make more money, and start an internet business today. Here are your hosts, Sterling and Jay.
Hey everyone, I'm Sterling.
And I'm Jay.
And we are on a mission to help you start your own internet business. Go to freevideogift.com and check out a video that teaches you the right way to start your very own online business.
So, Sterling, I noticed that our new opt-in process launched on our site today. Want to tell us a little bit about that and how it came, how you got the new ideas for this new process?
Yeah, well, everything always comes down to surveying, seeing what's, wanted and needed by our audience and by our community. And we decided it's been a few years since we had the 3 pillars of internet business lifestyle design or something. And it was time to do a little bit of an update and look out in the world and see what people were looking for now and create something that exactly matched that. And we did it. It's finally ready. We have a video and that teaches the 3 secrets to fast internet success. So it sounds a little hypey, but it's not. It's exactly that. And we worked a long time on it.
You even surveyed to find out which title people would be most interested in, right?
Yep. We wanted to know every single thing that would target people and give them, as close to 100% of what they need as possible. And this is it. We took months to get this created, so it is all ready and on the site, ready for you to go check it out.
Very cool. So, yeah, we tell people all the time that one of the number one things they can do to boost their opt-in results, the amount of people who convert to signing up for their email list, is to tweak or test different titles for that opt-in bonus. Even if you don't change the bonus itself, in this case we did. It's a new video, but split testing between 2 different titles or different images for what that opt-in bonus is can make a big difference. And so we've got all our tracking set up. We surveyed, we set up some new things, and it'll be exciting to see now what the results are from this new opt-in system. And hopefully, of course, the hope is our conversions go up. So I guess we'll see soon enough.
Yeah, we want to help more and more people. And if you want to check that out, you can go to InternetBusinessMastery.com. And in the upper right-hand corner of the blog, you'll see it's in a blue box. It says new for 2012. You can get instant access to it by just typing in your email, and you'll go right to the page.
And now, the features segment.
All right, so in this episode, we have the third in kind of a 3-part series here, all about the idea of being an expert. We talked about the expert versus the affiliate versus the niche site model and really said it's more of a spectrum. If you haven't listened to that yet, we definitely recommend you go back to episode 153. Then last episode, we had a conversation about why it's important to be seen as an expert and how that really ends up boosting overall the success of your business. And so in the last 2 episodes, we've made this case for why we teach the model of internet business that we do, and that is to come forward and make a solid business empire around a particular niche where you're seen as a go-to source of information. Sometimes this is called the expert model. And I know that word can often intimidate people a little bit, this idea of being an expert and like, who am I to be an expert? Or I don't want to be, this face of this thing. I don't, why should people listen to anything that I have to say? So in this episode, we want to reframe maybe a little bit that whole idea of this expert model and show how really to succeed with, what's been coined as the expert model of internet business, there's some very simple things that you can do to really shift that into gear even overnight. So the first thing we want to do is talk about just a few points to consider when it comes to thinking about this idea of being an expert online. And really, it's kind of a relative thing. And we've said this a lot in our episodes, and that is, when we say an expert, in our society, a lot of times people think, okay, well, that's somebody who's just the master, the best in their area of what they do, and they've been doing it for years and years and years. Or maybe it's somebody with a PhD, or it's somebody who's been recognized by multiple news outlets, or it's been, whatever the different criteria are that you might think for an expert. And we want to point out that really this idea of being an expert is it's really a relative thing. I mean, you're just looking to help other people who don't know quite as much as you do about a particular topic, or who haven't yet been through a kind of experience that you've been through. In the end, we're not looking to have you sit down with Oprah on her show and be like a Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz is most definitely not the most knowledgeable doctor out there. He just happened to have a great PR machine and played the game the right way, such that he, got endorsed by Oprah and, went on from there. Really what it's about is just stepping forward and being a passionate person who wants to help others. And when you step forward and say, hey, you know what, I've had this experience, or here's this thing I'm passionate about, or hey, I know some stuff about how to do X, and people, they're always looking for somebody to guide them or point them in the right direction, or willing to offer a helping hand. And so that's one reason why we want to say, hey, instead of thinking this as being an expert, we mentioned this a couple episodes, how about we think about this as just being a person of value online? Having that desire to help other people, having that desire to create value for a particular audience of people, a particular just small niche of people who are going to find you and think, hey, you know what, you look like a nice person who's got my interests in mind, who's got some great information. And the moment that you do that and they can connect with you, at that moment they're going to start looking to you as a go-to person. You don't have to go and be on CNN or Fox News or Oprah or in the New York Times. And, of course, all those things help in establishing you as authority, but that's not the kind of expert that we're talking about in this case. One more thing to consider here as well is that an expert or a person of value, when you're just starting out, you can just think of yourself as a filter for others, a filter in a particular niche, meaning you're just always keeping your antenna up for, hey, what's the valuable information around a certain topic? And when I find that information, I'm going to share it with other people. Think about like the friend that sends you a clipping of a magazine in the mail because they know, maybe you're trying to lose weight and they read this thing about, a certain kind of diet in Reader's Digest. So they take that clipping out and they hand it to you next time they see you. If you be that kind of a filter, again, that's a perfect way to become a person of value without having to have a PhD or all these other criteria that quote unquote make you an expert.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I just recently found a podcast that I'm listening to, a health podcast, and it's funny because this person is definitely playing this filter role. So some of the stuff he does is he talks about stories that are in the news, or if there's a new scientific paper that's just come out that proves the point that he's trying to make, he'll go through it. Or even if it disproves it, he'll go through it and talk about where the science failed. He interviews experts, and he even does like a blog of the week. So he does these little things that he's basically just filtering all this information. He goes out, basically decides which stuff works for his show, and then he tells you what other people are saying about this particular subject. Now, the show's actually called Latest in Paleo, and it's the paleo diet, if you haven't heard of it. And his name is Angelo Coppola, and I've listened to about 20 episodes, or almost 25 episodes now in the last 2 weeks. I really, really love the show for health stuff that I'm doing, but it's also just a really good example of what we're talking about with this filter. Now, one of the final things he does is he will do at the end usually a kind of a wrap-up where he kind of gives his opinion about all the different things that were going on. And, like, how easy is that? Like, he's interviewing experts, he's talking about science papers, he's talking about this whole world of expert, and just by doing that, he's becoming an expert. And he didn't wait till he learned all this stuff. He decided to do a show as he's learning this. Now, he also lost like 60 or 70 pounds on this diet beforehand and all that stuff as well. But just a great example of somebody who's starting as a filter. And very soon you'll see him at all the conferences speaking as an expert as well, because he spent several years being the filter and learning all about it. And then he will be the expert.
Yeah, that's a great example. I mean, obviously you found him because he decided to step up and be a person of value and create a show. So,
Absolutely.
he hung his virtual shingle on the internet. Now, of course, when you started listening, you had a choice to make of, is this worth my time or not? And it sounds like this guy's not a scientist, right?
No.
And he's not a doctor. He's not got a PhD in, as a dietitian or in nutrition science or anything like that. So it sounds like he has had the experience himself. So it sounds like he was able to say, hey, you know what? I'm just like you. I was in a position of having this weight I wanted to lose, wanting to be in better health. And, this stuff worked for me. Are there any other little green lights, I guess, that in your mind made you go, yeah, you know what? This guy's worth listening to?
Well, again, being a filter rather than saying, oh, I'm an expert, I know all about this. He shares his experiences, but he also, again, he goes out and gathers all the information from other experts, whether he interviews them or just puts a clip on the show from a science program or from a news program where, I mean, he even has one of the guys that talks a lot about the paleo diet debating Dr. Oz, and he uses a clip from that show because apparently they're kind of arch enemies, and so they got on the show together, and he played a clip from it, and he'll even put stuff on there from experts on the other side of the fence that say not to do it. And it's just fascinating because he's just filtering these other people. So it's less about just somebody's simple opinion and more about the fact that, again, he's just filtering other experts and just giving, like, let's say the clip on the show was 20 minutes. He gives 5 minutes, the best part, and he just filters the information. And I really liked that.
It's really so much more about if you can connect with the person. I mean, it sounds like he's somebody that you realized, okay, here's somebody who values science like I do, who goes out and tries to find the truth like I do, who has similar aspirations like I do, who looks to sources of information the kinds of sources of information that I would trust. He's saving me all kinds of time because I don't have to go through and glean and look through them all. And so not only are you seeing some of yourself in him, but just the things that you value in somebody. It sounds like that. It's like, hey, I could probably go sit down with this guy and have a drink kind of a thing versus like, is he the top expert in the world? Oh, no, then it's not worth my time to listen to, right? It's really far more about where are those similarities? Can you connect with them? Is he passionate about the topic than it is about a certain set of like a credentialed checklist that you go, okay, he's the one that I should listen to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it was added credibility that he lost 60 pounds by following it. So obviously that was an added thing, but just one time listening through the show, I was completely hooked to listen. And I have no doubt that it could be a couple of years and he'll have his book and, he'll be one of the big guys as well, just by doing something he's passionate about. And he's completely passionate about giving that information to others to help them too. So everything we've discussed.
Yeah, we see that happen all the time where people become one of the top go-to people just because they did start doing the kinds of things that we talk about. Yeah, so that's awesome. So he had the experience, and we've all had experiences. We might discount those experiences and go, oh, it wasn't that big of a deal. And yeah, it might not seem like a big of a deal to you because you've been through it already, or maybe it does seem like a big deal. But no matter what, there are other people out there who are facing the kind of experiences that you've already been through, and you can share that experience that you've had. And that goes a long way with getting people to connect with you and look to you as a person of value. But what if you haven't had the experience yet, so to speak? Well, a great example of that I like to point people to is a website called learningdslrvideo.com, learningdslrvideo.com. And it's a site that about a year ago I started looking at because I bought one of these nice Canon DSLR cameras to start doing videography and making short films with. And he's just somebody who's super passionate about this stuff. He's completely upfront about the fact that it's like, look, I'm just an amateur. I haven't gotten paid to do this stuff, but I love it. And I'm always out there looking at the latest stuff. I'm always asking people questions. I'm willing to say when I don't know, and I love going and finding out the answer. Then I come back and I make a YouTube video and share with people, here's what I found out. I tried this lens versus this lens, and I was trying to see what the difference would be, and here's what I found out. And the whole way, he's just sharing this discovery. So it's the experience he's going through right now, and he's become very, very popular. And even some of the big guys now like to come and be on his show because he's gotten to have such a following in the area. And I think it's because a lot of people look to him and go, wow, I'm just like this dude. I'm just trying to figure this out too. And so it's not intimidating to, yeah, sometimes it's cool, obviously, to listen to a podcast or read a blog post of somebody who was, the director of photography on the latest blockbuster summer movie. But at the same time, there's a lot of value in listening to somebody just like you who's in the middle of trying to figure it out as well. So don't let that intimidate you, even if you're in the experience and sharing that right now. So become a person of value. And to do that, it really comes down to two things. You make the decision that you want to do it. Make the decision, I want to be a person of value. I want to help other people, and I want, eventually to get paid for that as well. And then the second thing after you make that decision is you take action. You start taking action. There's all the kinds of things that we talk about in the Academy and on our show on other episodes, getting out there, starting to build a site, share great information, create content that's going to attract your ideal audience. But here's how we can boil it down into 3 basic steps of becoming that expert overnight. So number 1 is you need to decide what kind of people you want to help. And one of the easiest ways to do this is think of a past version of yourself. I mean, on the latest in paleo, clearly he knows his audience because it's himself just a few years ago before he had lost the 60 pounds. We have all kinds of students with examples like this. We have a student coaching right now who had both twins and triplets. Well, he sure has been through the experience of what it's like to have multiple kids at once. And there's all kinds of people facing that right now who found out that they're going to have twins, and they want to know, how are we going to handle this? Or our student, the mamas on bed rest example we love. She's been through the experience of being pregnant, being put on bed rest. All kinds of women are going to know her experience. Or we had the interview recently about the Mazda carpet and that problem of, it was a problem he faced and he had to solve it. Other people face that problem too. Learning to speak Indonesian. And we could go on and on about all of these examples of people who are simply looking to be a person of value to past versions of themselves.
Yeah, I mean, we also have the, people who wanted to just start drawing. Like it's not nearly the same level of pain as parenting twins and then also parenting triplets right after. But,
right.
It's a desire rather than the pain. And, he did that. Or even, of course, in our case, people who have a desire to take control of their life and start an internet business. I mean, this was a, past version of us as well.
So do not underestimate the value of your experiences that you've had in life and the things that you've learned through that. There are absolutely other people out there who would like to know what it is that you've learned. So that's step 1. Decide the people that you want to help, and it's probably a past version of yourself. Step number 2 is you start to use the internet then to connect with them. And, if we just think about it, the internet has leveled the playing field with channels like YouTube, or you can throw up a blog today if you want, or you can go onto Facebook and Twitter and instantly start connecting with that past version of yourself, with people who are running into that problem. It's very, very easy to find those people now today and instantly connect with them all over the world. And you think of the huge population on this earth, all you need to do to make a healthy income is to connect with a tiny fraction of those people. Just a few thousand loyal people looking to you as a person of value is enough for you to start making a healthy income online. And that's the whole process that we teach. We won't go into that right now, but that's this whole idea of just make that decision, go online, start making content. People will get attracted to that, find out what they want most, create solutions for them, and people will gladly pay you for those solutions, pay you to get access to those experiences and those things that you've learned.
Well, and I wanted to mention one more thing about this small group. We're close to 7 billion people on the planet. I just read a report and a book as well that talked about this report about how 3 billion more people are going to be going on the internet here in the next, I can't remember what it is, maybe 5 or 10 years.
Wow.
I mean, that's a lot of new people. Like, we haven't even had the big wave yet of people. That's like more people than it's doing it right now. And, again, one of the things I always tell to people when they're asking about this whole internet business thing is I was like, well, all you need is a good 1,000 people, 1,000 people out of billions of people that want to give you, what, $30 a month, $70 a month, or even like a $500 product. Just a tiny group of people that actually are willing to, give you money for even more value than you've already given. It's a small group of people, and it can absolutely change lives. Like, when we first started, we had, our academy, and our academy was, back then was about $97 a month. And so when I would tell people, they go, oh, well, how's internet business? And I was like, well, if you can just get 1,000 people at $97 a month, that's a nice start. $97,000 a month is not bad. But I mean, that's only 1,000 people. That's nothing.
Most of our students have the goal of making just $5,000 to $10,000 a month, and they'd be thrilled with that, right?
Obviously, yeah. Even if they charged $5 a month for a membership site and they had 1,000, I mean, it's amazing numbers, and it's incredibly exciting, and that's what's so awesome about the internet. I obviously could always go on and on about this. It's changed my life so much, and it always excites me to no end to talk about it.
So that's step number 2, is you start connecting with those people using the internet. And then the third thing is you start sharing valuable information and resources using the internet. And we've already mentioned channels like blogging and YouTube, but if you think about it, this is the information age. We are well into the information age. The internet has absolutely changed the way that people consume information and communicate. The fact that we're all carrying devices around that connect us constantly to that internet, that network us together, that keep us connected through our smartphones, through our laptops, through our netbooks, and so on and so forth, makes it's just a fact, I think, that we can all see now that people are going online every single day, multiple times a day, looking for connections, looking for valuable information, looking for entertainment, looking for solutions to their problems. And if you are there for a very specific slice of those people, when they find you and you share value with them, they'll immediately start looking to you as a go-to person. When you share your experiences, you share your knowledge, you're a filter for good things that they're looking for. You share the resources that you know about. So this is the reason why we say you can become an expert overnight, because you truly can. You can just make that decision now that you want to use the internet to be a person of value, to help people, to create value. And when you create value, the money will follow. Wealth will follow. Creating value is wealth creation. So you make that decision today and you take action. And the moment you take action and say, yeah, I want to go on the internet, I want to share value, you have become that expert in your mind. And from there, it's nothing but upwards and onwards. Things will just start to snowball from there. So we hope this has removed some of that heaviness of feeling like, oh, the expert model of internet business. No, we're just talking about finding people who are just like you, connecting with them, and being a person of value, helping out the world and making money at the same time. I think that's something all of us can aspire to and feel happy about. And so that's the whole idea behind the kind of internet business that we teach.
Well, and I'll tell you, just as an example, just listening to that show for the last couple of weeks, after 20 episodes of listening to experts and listening to all the different aspects of the paleo lifestyle, in some ways, I could even be considered an expert, a very basic expert, right? Like I could at least tell what the paleo diet is, some of the science behind it, where to find more information. See, like in 2 weeks, I already have a whole multitude of knowledge just by listening to one other person's show. Now, obviously, to fill in that information, I could, go to some of those links that I talked about, go to some of the science reports that he talked about. And once I read it, that's my knowledge now.
Right.
Like I now know that. I can now pass that on. Even if all I do is just pass on the link so other people can read it and don't even give my own commentary, I actually know that piece of information. And again, I think that's one of the things that's so awesome about, the expert-based internet business that we talk about, because it's just getting information that you're already interested and passionate about. I just love it.
Absolutely. It's a whole lot of fun. Right. On this episode, we have a breakthrough from one of our current fast track coaching students who had a nice little result here with one little change that he made with his opt-in process. This comes from Jason, affectionately known on our weekly coaching calls as Basement Jason, because we have so many Jasons.
We are a Jason magnet.
In our coaching program, not to mention my name itself. My given name is Jason. Anyway, here is what Basement Jason has to say. He says, I thought I would share a breakthrough on my email list magnet. Last week, I wrote a very targeted article. How much does a basement cost? And my signups have jumped significantly. I'm now getting 3 or 4 a day, whereas previously I was maybe getting just 1 a week.
Nice.
That's a fantastic jump. Yeah, excellent. And that just goes to show, I mean, that's why you keep at it with this content creation, because at some point you just start hitting those just right keyword phrases where it gets linked in the right place or starts showing up in Google all of a sudden, or, you know, and your traffic takes an uptick. It attracts more focused people that are more likely to actually opt into your list. So very excited to hear about that breakthrough, Jason, and excited to see all the progress you're making in the fast track coaching. Definitely looking forward to the next major breakthrough for you.
Yeah, and you can find Basement Jason at ifinishedmybasement.com. And remember, there's a live question and answer call each month for coaching members where you can ask us anything about starting and running your internet business. Not a coaching member yet? No problem. Just visit internetbusinessmastery.com/coaching to get the latest information about our coaching program.
You've been listening to the iconoclasts of the 9 to 5, Sterling and Jay. Sterling and Jay invite you to discover one of their most popular video programs ever, the Online Business Freedom Formula. Visit freevideogift.com right now to get instant access to this life-changing video series, pulled directly from the acclaimed Internet Business Mastery Academy membership community. Go now to freevideogift.com. Take control. Make more money. Start an internet business today.